Cast Ascendance! Maybe not. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sparklepony Roundup. The second episode I promised this week. Getting it in right at the buzzer, but I still got it in this week. Okay, and this week, or this episode, I'm going to talk about the Emerald Nightmare, the Emerald Dream, the big green thing, whatever you want to call it. Now, we're drawing to a close on Mists of Pandaria, so a lot of people are wondering what the next expansion is going to be. It's looking pretty heavily like it's going to be Burning Legion. There hasn't really been a lot of speculation that it would be Emerald Dream, and honestly, I don't think at this point we're going to get an Emerald Dream expansion, and I'm going to tell you why. Mostly, Blizzard decided to end about 80% of the storyline in a book. Now, if you're not a follower of the novels and the various short stories they put all over the internet, yeah, the Stormrage novel kind of wrapped up the majority of the Emerald Nightmare. Now, while I still think they could definitely get some dungeons out of it, I would not be surprised if somewhere in one of the upcoming expansions we get either a raid tier or more likely some 5-mans or scenarios out of it, using those old portals we have all over the world. I just don't think there's enough content left in the Emerald Dream for a full expansion. Now, we've already established that Xavius is the Nightmare Lord, and while we don't know if he's been killed, they defeated him in the Stormrage novel, along with the 4 Dragons of Nightmare. Well, 2 out of 4 anyway. The last one was redeemed, and you kill the last one in a Cataclysm storyline with her help. Well, her being the one that was redeemed. Should have specified that a little better. Anyway, so Emerus and Lathon were both killed in the Stormrage novel. What is her name? It's not Ysera, because Ysera is the aspect. The female one was redeemed, and in the Feralis storyline of Cataclysm, you help her kill Terrar. And that pretty much wraps up the Dragons of Nightmare. Now, Irenicus was redeemed in vanilla, so that was never really going to be a factor, I think. They built him up like he was going to be a boss, and then they decided, no, like right in the Scepter of the Shifting Sands. And then we kind of didn't hear anything else about the Emerald Dream ever again. At least not in-game. The Stormrage novel came out right around the same time Cataclysm dropped, because it explained how we got Malfurion back. So, basic, vague outline, because I haven't personally read the novel, I've just kind of read the Cliff's Notes myself, is Malfurion, with the help of some of the Cenarian Circle and I believe, actually, Irenicus, went into the Nightmare, and they found who's responsible for the major corruption, and it was Xavius. Xavius was the right-hand man of Ashara. He's the first satyr, for those of you that aren't really big on WoW lore. He was one of the guys that invited the Burning Legion to Azeroth and then got corrupted, and they turned him into a satyr. And I don't know if he got off better or worse than the ones that got turned into Naga by the old gods. Well, we think it was the old gods with the rest of Ashara's crew. So that leads to some interesting potential, you know. If we do Burning Legion, it may branch into the Emerald Nightmare, because at least with the Xavian part of the faction, there seems to be a little bit of crossover. Because the satyrs all work for the Burning Legion, but Xavius himself, the originator of the satyr species, is working for N'Zoth, because we've had heavy hints, and I think somebody at the last BlizzCon even directly said that N'Zoth is responsible for the Emerald Nightmare. So I definitely think they could squeeze enough content to actually use those old portals out of it, but I don't think it's going to ever be a full expansion. So sorry, people that have been clamoring for this forever and wanting to roam around the Emerald Dream, but I don't think you're going to get to see a whole lot of it. Most of the models that we've seen in the old data mining, I guess data mining is not the word for it, when they would drop through the world and walk around in the Emerald Dream, a lot of those models have been used in current World of Warcraft. The floaty trees ended up being part of the Grand. The big twisty trees are now part of Pandaria. You know, a lot of that stuff ended up being utilized in other ways, and I think that's partially because they just realized at some point that the Emerald Dream was just too massive of a concept for a full expansion. Because, I mean, you would have to create a whole new Azeroth and then link it to the existing Azeroth, and that's a lot of work. So, while it was an awesome idea, I think ultimately Blizzard kind of bit off more than they could chew with the concept, and now they've peeled back on it by using the novels and by using the various quest lines, like the Terrar quest line in Feralis, like the brief little quest line snippet that we got to see with Bride and Brad. I don't think we're going to get a full expansion. And yeah, I mean, there's not enough content. Now, I could be totally wrong. They could end up proving me wrong. I would love it if they proved me wrong, because the Emerald Dream is an awesome idea. It would be totally amazing to run around in there. But my gut just tells me that we're probably not going to see a full X-Pack. It's probably going to end up being kind of like the Firelands, or like the scrapped Abyssal Maw. Maybe like the Zandalaris a little bit, where it's kind of its own Meanwhile in the Hall of Justice story, where we go handle something else real fast to deviate from the main plot. But Emerald Dream expansion, I just don't see it in the cards. Emerald Dream patch is what we're more likely going to see. Awkward pause. So this is going to be another short one. Sorry about that. But next week, aiming for about Wednesday, I think I'm going to make every episode Wednesday now. Tuesday just wasn't giving me enough time to properly do the research and put everything together, and that's part of why the shows have been a little bit erratic, both in the schedule and just in my general attention span. I'll have a new episode up. I think I'm going to do a little more tinfoil hat work. I'm going to talk about the old gods. So tune in for that. In the meantime, once again, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, feel free to leave one down below in the YouTube comments. I do read them. Starting to come in. Psyched about that. Or you can get a hold of me at twitter.com/ponyzord or ponyzord.tumblr.com. As I said before, you don't even need an account for the Tumblr, so if you don't want to sign up for anything, if you don't have a Twitter, that's the best place to get a hold of me. Once the show picks up a little more steam, I'll look into putting some more social media up. But right now, I think that's pretty adequate. So, I'm going to go make some food. See you later.